Okay, so we're on night
Three
3 of 31.
days of horror movie.
And so tonight was
The Conjuring.
the Conjuring. And we've seen, latecomer to the series, she introduced me to it. I had seen bits and pieces of it with other people, but yeah.
I love it. I love the Annabelle franchise, the Conjuring franchise. They all intertwine together.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
So it starts, it's a...
Sorry, I kind of see her off a little bit. Here, actually, this will be a little probably better, right? Yeah, there we go. Take my ass off the screen. All right, go ahead.
Well, it's another story with Ed and Lorraine Warren, one of their many cases of the paranormal.
Right, and this was what kicked off the whole series of Annabelle and all that stuff. So it was kind of weird knowing the Annabelle franchise, seeing that being prominent in the opening scene. The first 10 minutes was about this doll, but then it's not about this doll.
Right.
So that kind of throws you off a little bit. You're like, oh, well, why did we talk about that? Right?
Right.
Like, for those that, if you don't know what the hell Annabelle is, then you're like, oh, cool. Like, demonically possessed doll sounds good to me, but it's not. Wah, wah. It's something completely different, goes in a completely different direction.
And the way that they made the movies out of sequence, so it makes sense when you watch it in the sequence that they were made. Yeah. But that's why it's weird that they do show that first clip with Annabelle.
Right.
How they came into possession with Annabelle.
It was just, it was them talking about how that happened, and so it's kind of like not really a red herring, but it was just kind of like, oh, here's something shiny over here, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, we're going to go do this now. It's like, okay, well, here's the Perrin family, and it's like, and it's the guy from Office Space, so that's what's also weird. It's, I can't remember his name.
But I like his character. I think he plays a good dad.
No, he plays a good dad. He plays a good straight-laced guy. It's not the first time I've seen him in a straight-laced, but it is hard to not look at him as the guy from Office Space. But yeah, he did pull it off. The Perrin family, large family, 5 kids, I think, all daughters.
5 daughters.
It's amazing that he looks that good with having 5 daughters. I would be.
And they've recently moved to a secluded farmhouse.
Right. They moved out there. They got a great deal.
Great deal.
You always gotta watch out. The buyer beware.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't know what they were walking into, but they had this huge house and they dumped all their money into it. So this was like an all or nothing kind of thing.
And right off the bat, they have a family dog, and the dog doesn't want to go into the house.
Yeah,
the first night, they cannot get
the first day. They could putting boxes in the house, and then I was like, no, that's okay. And they're like, the guy couldn't even pick the dog up. The dog was making heavy. Like, I don't know how they do that. I don't know how animals do that, but if you own an animal, you know what I'm talking about. Like, if you try to make a cat, like, okay, it's time to get off the couch now, and it's like, what in the... I can't get underneath. It just sealed itself to the fucking couch. Holy shit. You need a spatula and salad tongs to get underneath it. It's fucking awful.
A magnet.
But anyway, so yeah, this dog just doesn't want to come into the house. So that immediately is like red flag. But of course they're like, oh, it's just being a dumb dog. We'll just leave it outside again, which is just like Amityville leaving the dog outside. It's like, who fucking does that? Like, I couldn't leave a dog outside. 2 movies where this is, animal rights people. Come on, stand up. Get this dog in the house.
Let's bring dogs inside.
As I'm getting attacked by the other dog, our
little
third wheel here.
So it gives you a little bit of an opening into their lives. They're unpacking, and the little girl, April, finds the music box outside.
Yeah, up by a tree, a creepy tree.
Look what I found, she says.
Yeah, this creepy tree. And sorry, I'm having to give this mutt water to see if this mutt wants water. Please talk amongst yourselves.
It's so bizarre. She just goes out there and then immediately finds it. It seems like.
Yes.
Look what I found. And Anyway, so she brings it into the house. They have their first night in the house.
Okay, let's just get it over with. She wants her moment. And so Callie, this is the Callie moment. We can't get through an entire episode without having Callie on. Should have just called it Running with Callie. Should we call it Running with Callie?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, she's part of the program now. I don't think she liked being like us. We were paying attention to something else. She's like, hey, what the fuck? I'm over here.
Yeah, no, if you're not paying attention to her.
Anyway, go ahead and continue. Sorry, I did not mean to.
Their first night, so they have their first night. Like we said, they can't get the dog in, which is really bizarre. But they have their first night, and then first thing in the morning, they start to notice the clock stopped at 3 a.m. All of the clocks stopped at 3 a.m.
3:09 or something like that. Some weird time.
And the mother, Caroline, notices bruises. Starts noticing bruises after the very first night.
Yeah, and then more bruises, and then the dude's even like, the Office Space guy's like, and by the way, that's what I call him. I'm going to refer to him as Office Space guy. Yeah. So it's like the N-word guy from South Park. He's that guy.
Yeah.
He's the South Park guy.
The South Park.
So he's he's
the Office Space.
He's the Office Space guy. He's the South Park guy. Maybe he is. So yeah, the Office Space guy's even like, maybe can you go to a doctor and get that checked out? Because I know if I'm a guy, I'm like, can you tell them you fell or something? You need to have something like, I burned myself here, and not that I gave you matching sets of pinky rings, like slaps, Like,
and then the dog is discovered.
Yeah, the daughter goes outside. And it's like, where's Sammy? Oh, Sammy's outside.
Sadie.
Or Sadie. Yeah, Sadie's outside. Okay, Dad, hold my stuffed animal. Runs outside. Kids start screaming. They come outside. Something's happened to the dog. Its head is facing a direction it shouldn't be facing. It's taking the dirt nap. And that child had to learn the hard way that that's what happens sometimes when demonic possession is involved. Right.
So these are starting to be signs of the presence.
And the night before, Sadie was freaking out, like woof, 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 like was like freaking out, like something was out there with her or something was fucking with her. So, and then that next morning.
Yeah, and also they started noticing birds flying into the windows,
breaking their necks. So, which I thought was
rotting smell throughout the house.
Great special effects on that, by the way. The birds crashing into the window.
The pictures don't want to stay on the wall. The banging.
Do you think that they threw birds against the windows randomly just to see?
No, I think it was CGI.
Was that CG?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but we could always.
Or maybe it's like. I don't know.
How did you get the birds to look so realistic?
Did you throw them against there? Did you? Anyway, so.
One of their first nights, they want to play hide and clap. The girls.
Yes, it's a very interesting game, the hide and clap game. I was like, well, this is a little different on Marco Polo. It's not, it's like, okay, you get 3 claps.
So it's kind of like hide and seek, but with a clap because you're blindfolded.
Clapper, yeah.
So you follow the claps, and the girls they're out playing. They're playing it in the house, and when April. Is it April? No, Christine. Yeah, she tags her sister, and
she runs into a wall that's there's a wall in a closet, and it's loose, and it's like, hey, what's this? So it looks like there's like another area of the house that's unlocked to them now, or it's like a basement.
There was a boarded up basement.
It was a basement area, and in the basement was just
that they had no idea was there.
Various knickknacks, stuff that looked like hadn't been touched
full of things left
many moons ago. And so they were like, oh, yay, well, there's another area.
Wow,
clean up, hooray.
The dad says, don't go back down there. There's spiders. Girls, I don't want you down there.
Right. And that was before he could actually get down there to take a look. And then the next day, he's down there cleaning up.
Trying to fix the furnace because, again, we've got a cold house.
Yeah.
And a rotting smell.
The place is freezing cold. There's a weird smell.
Yeah.
So just, like, not good signs. And then...
he has to leave.
And then he gets a job where he's so the guy's a trucker, and so he's hauling loads, and so it's going to be a week turnaround. He's going to be gone for a minute. So
she's really supportive. We're going to get through this.
He's like
sucks.
He's like, and he's taking less money than he was supposed to get for it, so he's not happy.
Yeah.
So he has to leave.
So it's the mother and the daughters. They're alone in the house.
And the shit hasn't started hitting the fan yet. Like, there really hasn't been any kind of activity until he left, right? Like, I mean, the only thing that happened was the dog died.
Did the thing with Christine and the whispering, did that happen before or after he left? I don't remember, but they kind of go back to back. One happens and then the other one happens.
Right.
And it really kicks off from there.
Yeah.
And the family is fully terrified.
I cannot remember the order, even though we just watched it.
I know.
Bad. It's like,
I know, yeah.
I'm just trying to remember.
But I know he leaves, and this is the perfect opportunity for this malevolent
to start fucking with them.
Supernatural presence has now officially made itself known.
Yeah, like, I'm here and I'm fucking with you.
Tricks the mother down into the basement, traps her down there.
Does the clap game with her, and that's the night he comes back. He just happens to come back, and she was locked in the basement.
Yeah.
And the kids were freaking out because they saw.
No, the little girl who was sleepwalking this is the second time in her sister's room to the cabinet. She says, "Just sleep with me tonight," kind of takes her back, and then they finally see who we now know as Bathsheba, the most malevolent, evil, a supernatural or spirit or entity that is in the house. One of many, we're told. One of many.
Right, because there's been, as they start looking back on the property, and this property used to be more, it was owned by one person and subdivided and sold off and whatever, and so each place has had some bad shit happen to it, like a kid drowned in one of the lakes, another mom committed suicide or something like that.
The maid or something committed suicide,
and then
the mother murdered the child.
So there's a lot of trauma around the area, and then so that's when things start really getting bad. And I just don't know what night it was, but there was the one night where they were in the room, the two girls, the older ones.
Yes, Christine.
And she was like,
and
"There's
Nancy.
Somebody in the corner. Like, I see somebody."
Well, she gets her foot pulled.
Yeah, and then she sees
while
somebody
she's
in the
asleep,
corner,
and she smells the smell. She thinks it's her sister. Stop farting. Stop playing around with my foot. I'm trying to sleep. It's not funny. But then she gets pulled again.
Yeah.
Almost out of bed. Very rough pull. She immediately sits up, notices that it's not her sister.
She starts looking around her bed first, and then something kind of tips her off. Like, she looks over in the corner, and she can see
She looks under her bed, it's like the monster in the closet or under the bed.
Underneath the bed, it looks back toward the door, and she can see something behind the door fucking around, and she's like, what the fuck?
She's freaking out, wakes her sister up. Her sister is now alarmed. What's wrong with my sister?
Can see she's like shaking, and she's white, like with fear. Like,
yeah. She asks her sister, "Can you see it?" No, her sister cannot see it, but she can smell it.
Yeah, and so she started to go into the
Miranda
corner.
file.
Started to go into the corner, and she's like, "It's not there. There's nothing there." She went and looked. There was nothing there, and then she turned around, and her sister starts freaking out, like, he's right behind you.
She's telling him he's right behind you.
And then the door slams.
And they scream bloody murder. All of them.
Yeah, start screaming.
Yeah.
Although the girl that was standing with the thing behind it, with the bean or whatever it was, she wasn't freaking out at all. She was like...
Actually, if you saw her face, she literally looked like she was just traumatized.
Yeah.
And she she couldn't even speak. She was just stunned. She didn't know what the heck just happened. But the parents rush in, and she's screaming. Christine's screaming. Yeah, there's somebody in here. There's somebody in here. And they're saying, no, honey, there's nobody in here. And she says, yes, it talked to me, she says.
Yes, I've heard it talk. It whispers to me. It told me that it wants my family dead.
Yeah.
And she just starts freaking out, and that's when...
It seems like that's when now everyone is on super high alert, and
everybody's sleeping downstairs. Everybody's sleeping downstairs, and they go look for her.
And they go and they seek out
Ed and Lorraine.
Warren, actually, the mother goes to a
What would you call it?
Not a seminar, but
it was like a class.
Yeah,
about they were doing an expose, if you will, about supernatural behavior and about their files, about things that they've been dealing with exorcisms
and fun fact, during that scene, who is in the audience?
Lorraine, the actual Lorraine,
the real life Lorraine Warren
was actually in there. I that was the first time I caught that, was when they were panning and going back. The camera was going up into the students.
Yeah.
She was like middle of the row, and I was like, "Hey, that's
look for that."
Her. I was like, "That's her. That's crazy."
Yeah. That was cool.
So it's a cool little Easter egg.
Cameo.
If you knew. That was like if you were paying attention, or if you watched the end credits, you would know who that was.
Yeah. So Ed and Lorraine often say that a lot of the cases get debunked because they are just normal, everyday things within the house that make sounds that people freak out about. And they very rarely have real supernatural cases, they say. So
yeah, they
kind of touch a little bit on the Nun movie, if you've seen it, because the Frenchman is actually Frenchie from the Nun movie. If you've seen that, the young Lorraine out of the convent. Anyway, I thought that was cool because it intertwines all these movies.
Right. Well, it sets them up.
Yeah, sets them up.
And I think they did that knowingly, which is funny now to look at it, because they totally set up Annabelle. They totally set up all those, like, just put them in your head and remember these, because they're going to get their own little spotlight.
Yeah.
So
the mother, Caroline, seeks out Ed and Lorraine after their seminar.
Right, and one of their helpers comes over and says, "Hey, like, they're asking to meet you." And they're like, "Okay, cool." Because they get a lot of, like, one of the ones that they were showing that was a debunk was somebody's pipes were just loud, and they were expanding, and they were making the wood make noise in these people's houses. But they thought they were possessed.
And Ed and Lorraine had already said that they just wanted to take some time out, write a book, didn't want to do any more investigation.
Well, he wanted, so that was him. Ed wanted to take the time off. He was getting worried about Lorraine because she's been doing so many of these, and some of them are really intense, which we'll talk about later because they get into that later in the movie. But yeah, he didn't want to do it anymore because he was starting to get afraid for her, to be afraid for her.
Right.
And he was so in love with her that he didn't want to see her getting in any more danger or being in any more danger. But she's the good person and wants to help everybody because she has a gift. She has a gift. And
I think she could see in the mother's eyes and in her voice that she really, won't you please come help? When you have children, you have a daughter, you would do anything to protect them.
Yeah. Well, you at least just come. And obviously they had to be within a certain distance.
Yeah.
Driving distance too. I'm sure they weren't just like, sure, we'll drive to Connecticut tomorrow and we're in fucking bumfuck nowhere, you know what I mean?
So they learn. So they come.
Day.
They come to the house, and right off the bat, Lorraine is picking up things. She's noticing the dark entity that has latched itself onto the family, like bubble gum on the bottom of a shoe. They can move, but the spirit is stuck to them, not the house.
So you can move anywhere you want to move, but that will always be with you. So, but we didn't know that at the time. You could see her expressions, like she was seeing something we weren't seeing. And so you could tell she was uncomfortable.
And from room to room, you could tell she was picking up more and more.
She was getting more and more uncomfortable.
And then when they told her about the basement, she said, "Let me see."
And then they go down,
basement.
And then that's when she's like, some really horrible things have happened around here.
And goes outside to the front yard, and
that's when she sees the hanging.
Bathsheba for the first time.
Bathsheba, yeah, she sees her hanging.
And so their team, they decide to investigate the property. Well, you brought that up. They discover Bathsheba. They discover, that was the other thing. April's music box. She actually sees a spirit, a little boy, in the music box.
Yeah.
And she does tell her mother about it. Her mother tries to see it, but she doesn't see it. Lorraine looks into the music box, and she sees
the little boy.
The little boy's name is Rory. So when they're doing the investigation, the macabre history of the farmhouse and Bathsheba, they said they had a long history of the Salem witch trials was part in her family.
Yeah.
She was a Satanist.
Yeah.
And she cursed anyone who lived on her land. She killed her baby her 7-day-old baby.
Yeah.
Because she could and offered it up to Satan.
Satan, yeah.
So she was a real demoness, Satanist.
Satan, yeah, a Satan worshiper.
She was an evil woman, this Bathsheba, and she was the worst of the ones that were there, apparently.
Right.
The other one is Rory, and we don't know the full history, but then, like you said, there was other murders on the property, other deaths on the property, other people who own the property all suffered some sort of some
trauma, some kind of tragedy. So yeah, there was suicides that had happened, murders. So
they are now officially confirmed that there is something here. The family needs an exorcism on the house.
Right, but now we need evidence. We need visual evidence. So that's when they start getting their equipment involved. They start bringing it into the house.
And things start quickly picking up on camera.
The first or second night, they start seeing...
The little girl is being led around.
She's being led around. They go up into the room. She disappears.
The assistants see
They can't find her.
A woman.
They can't find her, but they can't find her in the room.
Oh, no, they couldn't find her.
They go upstairs into the room, and they can't find her, and they're like, what the hell? So they go get the UV light, and they see that the footsteps lead behind the wardrobe that was there, and they opened it up, and they sure as shit, there's a little slot, you pull it, and fucking there's the kid over in the corner. I was just like, whoa,
and the little girl, April, says to Lorraine, that's where Rory goes when he's afraid. That's where Rory hides when he's afraid. And so she goes in and peeks around, and she sees this empty spot where the music box was. Yeah. Now we know that it's being used as a conjuring.
It's a conduit for Rory, and so if that's where he's going when he's afraid, and he's a sad little boy because something bad happened to him. So all of these, this one entity, this Babadook chick, Babaru.
No, Bathsheba.
Bathsheba.
Please don't say Babadook anymore.
All right, I've been stuck on Duke. All right, trying to get him out. But Bathsheba,
they've convinced that they need an exorcism.
She is like the mass ghost that is over the entity.
And so Lorraine goes in to this wardrobe. It's kind of a rickety. I don't know how it's in the wall somehow. It's through the armoire into the wall. And she goes in and drops.
Yeah, she picks up. Because she was going to fuck with the thing,
and she drops through the floor.
And she found the rope that had the
she sees a weird noose, and then she immediately drops through the floorboards. She drops all the way to the basement, and she starts to see who we think is Rory's mother.
Yeah.
The
one that actually killed her son.
So now Lorraine knows...
Lorraine knows
Bathsheba's intention is, which we could already tell by killing her own baby.
Right.
But so what does she do? She possesses the mother to kill the child. Yeah. So now we need not just an exorcism on the house, we need a full-blown person exorcism, and they decide that then they go downstairs. Wait, I think I'm getting things kind of mixed up. But the girl gets flung around the room. They cut her hair.
Yeah, that's what.
And then they have the absolute evidence that they need.
Yeah, that's why I said that's the evidence. And then the night of that you're talking about.
Yeah.
That was the night all hell broke loose.
That's the all hell broke loose.
So they get the evidence that they need. They move out. They're like, peace out. We're not staying here.
Going to a hotel.
We're gonna go. We're gonna get the priest. We're going to have him come back, and we'll perform the exorcism, and we'll get everything cleaned up in your house. And so...
so Bathsheba... Though, before Lorraine ran out of the basement after she realizes what Bathsheba's doing to the family, she gets attacked somewhat by Bathsheba, and her necklace gets ripped off.
Yeah.
So the necklace is there, and this necklace connects her to her family, to her daughter, the Warren family connection. So that gets left behind. The Warrens leave... Perron family leaves, and Lorraine gets an ominous warning that something is wrong with her family.
So she goes to the water, and she sees her daughter in the water, and she is freaking out, and she thinks normally these things are premonitions of things that are to come. So she freaks out, calling her mom. How's my daughter? Where's the dog? Where is she? Mom's like, what the fuck? It's just like, just shut up and tell me where my daughter is. And so she's okay, but she was freaking out, and she wanted to get back.
Yeah, then it was like a hot hurry to get home to their kid.
She needed to see her daughter to make sure everything was okay.
Which was smart, because her intuition, of course, was right. Her psychic ability was right. And
and it turns out
and there was the entity was now attacking her daughter.
This connection now opened up a connection with now Annabelle, which was crazy because Annabelle now got involved. Which I don't know who's more powerful, because Annabelle would seem to be the more powerful.
It seems as though Bathsheba has come, her spirit has come into the house where Annabelle is, and they've now teamed up.
Right.
They've now teamed up to scare the living shit, let's say, or kill the daughter of Lorraine and Ed Warren.
Right, because, that's...
And sure enough, they cornered the little girl
in the bedroom. They got her out of her bedroom first. Then she comes down and sees that the door's open, and then it starts to get dark. Everything gets dark,
real spooky,
kind of like Annabelle style, where you can feel that
devil, you can feel the life
demons coming through.
The life sucked out of the room.
Demons coming through, and
then the parents come in.
She closes the door, locks herself in, and then there's fucking the old lady.
The rocking chair in the corner is Bathsheba with Annabelle sitting on her lap.
Yeah, and she's combing her hair, and then Annabelle looks over all slow.
Yeah.
That would fuck me up.
And Ed and Lorraine show up just in time to save their little girl out of the bedroom, and she confirms to them that it was Bathsheba and Annabelle in the rocking chair.
But they went back to the thing, and Annabelle was locked up. She was.
He did. He checked. Back. He ran to their room and their room of demonic possessions, and she was in the case. But you know how she can. Well, Annabelle can do what she wants. So she could be here, she could be there, she could be anywhere.
Right. So anyway, so that all happened. They freaked the shit out of them.
And then really quickly, they get a call that the mother has left the hotel with the children, two of the children. And they're freaking out.
Yeah, we don't know.
The mom's not acting right.
We haven't gone. We don't know where they're going. We don't know anything.
And she's officially started acting super weird.
And she's like, I now know what's going to happen. Why she's doing this is she's going to kill. She's possessing the mom to kill the children. She's taking them back to the house to kill them.
Yeah.
So it's a mad race. Everybody's racing now to the house. Everybody except the children. And then so they get there. Mom's already downstairs trying to go to work on the kids.
She's already fully possessed.
Dad's got the arm back, keeping her from stabbing. She has a pair of scissors that she's trying to go at it with.
Yep.
Abnormally large pair of scissors.
And they somehow they're all the little kids are hiding under the house.
She found
in the basement somewhere.
She found some crack to get into. I was just like, what the fuck?
Wherever Rory hides, that's where the little kids were hiding.
Beyond, that was under the table. They had to dig up the floor. That was crazy.
So Ed decides we don't have time to wait for an approval anymore. This is happening now.
Well, they show up and they try to subdue her, and she is fighting like a motherfucker. The demon is now in full control of her now. Yeah,
her face is changing. She is looking very
demonic, and she's acting very possessed. She's acting very possessed, and so they throw a sheet over her, and they fucking strap her to a chair.
Start performing the exorcism.
And once he starts doing that, that's when she gets pissed. She
levitates in the chair. Chair goes upside down.
And then, no, she just starts freaking. That's when she rips the fucking sheet, and you can see the transformation, that she is actually trying to become herself. And so that was, totally crazy. And then, upside down levitation, drops to the ground, and then she starts fucking with him, almost shoots somebody with the shotgun.
Right.
He
keeps saying, fight it, to his wife, office guy.
Office-based guy.
Started saying, fight it, and the Bathsheba, just finally you could tell that she was full on. Bathsheba says she's already gone, and you're all gonna die. And then you see a shotgun lift out of nowhere.
No, that was the shotgun that was brought downstairs. The guy brought it downstairs. The one that got his face bit, the cop. He was downstairs with the shotgun and fucking he put it down. I saw him put it down and I was
gonna say, all I know is that nobody was holding it. It rose and it fired at them.
Yeah, it was fucking
narrowly
crazy.
missing.
He put it down and I was like, why did you bring that downstairs?
I didn't even see that. Another thing, another small detail that I missed, but he catches.
Yeah,
That's
it was
so
like,
funny.
that's so dumb. So anyway, so they're now, everybody's fighting against Bathsheba and it's a fucking just straight throwdown.
Lorraine is reminding her to remember her children, remember how much she loves them, remember that day at the beach, and to fight it with all that she can.
Right.
And she does.
Right. So she gets her off the one kid, but then when they find the second kid, she goes after the second kid.
Oh, okay. So let's go back a little bit more.
The way I'm like,
I was ending it
right
here.
To the end. Yeah, I'm like, you totally missed a whole child. So that part, and that happened on the second child where she crawled into the spaces, knew how to get to the kid that was in this fucking little nookity nook that nobody could get to, and got to her and was about to stab her.
That is where she is being told to remember you love your children.
Love your children, and like Lorraine touches her head and tells her to remember and takes her back to that picture and da-da-da, and she remembers and throws up the demon and fucking finally they are able
to leave as a family, and they are
all is well.
Loving and hugging each other outside in a big loving pile.
And that, it pulls away, and that's the end of it. Which so after it was over, I'm twisted, and I always think about like the alternate endings, like they're like outside. And they're like, yeah, thank God it's all over. And then, like, he goes and puts the shotgun down and goes off and shoots away.
Oh, my God.
No!
Even more of a tragic ending.
No. The other ending I thought
So, on a scale...
Okay, hold on. No, the other ending I thought that would be cool is them outside. They're like, oh, man, thank God. Everything's okay. One of the guys goes to light a stove and there's a gas leak because of all this shit. Boo-boo!
Oh my God. Then you got the guy with the pyrotechnics just running around in flames. They're like, damn it, Bathsheba!
Oh my God. Just her over the top of the house. Credits roll.
Yeah, credits roll. Dun dun. On a scale of 1 to 10, what are you giving this movie?
For the first all the first installments are always the best. So, for what it was, I would give it a 7, a strong 7. I might have even gone higher, but I don't want to go too high because I feel like I give too much praise. I think it's a great movie.
I was probably gonna go with a 6 or a 7 because I don't want to go too high, but I don't want to go too low because I do love the Annabelle Conjuring franchise. So
totally, yeah. The whole series is really good.
You should look up online what order you should watch it in because it's super fun to watch. To go back and to watch it in the order that they want you to, so it actually does
If I can remember, I'll try to put a link in the comments.
Yeah,
or I'll put a link below.
Yeah,
that you guys can find that on.
So tomorrow, our movie. Do we know what our movie is? What is it? The
Texas Chainsaw.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Are you excited for the Texas Chainsaw? It is. Yeah. Day 4 will be the Texas Chainsaw, followed by Insidious, and then The Silence of the Lambs. I'm really excited. Buffalo Bill.
This is the part.
Buffalo Bill.
This is the part of the list that I'm super excited for. So yes, I'm pumped.
Yeah.
I'm pumped for all these movies.
Yeah.
So.
Even though our uploads may not be
it takes a
on
long
time.
I'm so sorry.
I'm still voting for let's review 2 or 3 movies in a short amount of time on a video, less videos during the week, and we talk about more movies during the video.
We'll effort that. I'll think about that.
Okay, or we'll pull it. Do a poll. Yeah. Oh, and our other question was, what are we going to change? What we're going to We asked, do we want to keep The Hills Have Eyes and
yay or nay, and we got the yay to kick it.
The yay to kick it. So leave a comment. like, subscribe, leave a comment, though, what movie we should replace it with.
Yeah, and then we will totally, because, I'd love to switch it out with something.
So get ready, y'all, for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre tomorrow.
All right, guys.
All right.
We'll talk to you later.
Subscribe, like.
Peace.